What if a guy who does not want to have kids has a girlfriend promise she can't have kids, but then gets pregnant? Should he still have to pay child support? A Michigan law says yes, and now a federal court of appeals has refused to step in. Now Matthew Dubé must continue to make monthly payments to his ex, Lauren Wells. Dubé has been fighting in the courts, saying he was deceived and shouldn't have to pay. Joining me now from Lansing, Michigan is Matthew Dubé. Mel Fight, the executive director of the National Center for Men, joins us. He helped bring the case. And Vikki Ziegler, a family law attorney and civil litigator. Thanks to all of you. Appreciate it. All right, Matthew, first of all, lay out the facts for us. What happened?
What happened was we had a relationship, a brief relationship for about 3 months, during which time I made it clear to her I was not willing to be a father. She made it very clear to me that she could not get pregnant, as well as she was on contraceptives for other medical reasons. We broke up. Shortly thereafter, she informed me she was pregnant and she was keeping the child and that I would pay for it.
Now, when you say she said she could not get pregnant, how definitive was she about that?
She explained to me that she had a medical condition where she could not get pregnant.
No way, no how.
That is correct.
And then the miraculous conception occurs, right?
Correct.
All right. Now, before I get into the legal issues, there are going to be a lot of women out there who are going to look at you and they're going to say, come on, this guy has sex with this woman. This is life. And when a child comes up, what, you want no one to have to pay for the child?
No, that's not the case at all. If this case were reversed and it was a woman that was being forced into being a mother, it would never happen because she has options. Those options are overlooked in men, and we're given no choice. We simply have to live with whatever the woman decides.
All right, Vikki, here's what concerns me about cases like this, all right, is that this is a guy who's being told specifically by, let's assume the facts are true, right? Let's assume she said, I am infertile, I cannot have children. Let's assume, just for argument's sake, and I don't know this to be the case, but let's assume she knows that that may not be true. Because there have been other cases where women have known having sex with a guy, not telling their husband, having someone else's child, lying to the husband, and the husband is still forced to pay child support. Is that fair? Isn't there some sort of fraud involved?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's not what happened in this case in the sense of what they filed. Fraudulent inducement is an actionable claim. But
in every case I've seen, the father still has to pay. It seems court after court rules that even if the mother lies, even if she makes up stories, even if she has sex with some other guy, it's in the best interest of the child, the courts say, for the person that the child is with to pay. Fair?
Generally happens. Prevention, number one. Number two, what is the real question? Child support is not just because the father pays. The mother and father have to contribute to the welfare.
Even if the mother lies to get the child? Even if the mother lies to the father?
Because you know what? A lot of people have lied to me in my life. I'm sure you. I don't take everyone's word, so I'm going to protect myself. That's the key.
All right. Go ahead, Mel.
Vicki's right. Vicki is right. This case was not about fraud.
Right.
For us, it was about the meaning of Roe versus Wade, and I think the practical intent and the effect of Roe was to make it possible for every woman to have an intimate sexual relationship while at the same time choosing not to be a parent, even in the event of a contraceptive failure.
Wait,
so the question we were asking...
But that wasn't the rule. Wait, hang on, Mel. That was not the rule. The reasoning in Roe versus Wade was that a woman's body was her own to do with it what she would with regard to an abortion or not.
You're wrong.
I'm actually right. That's exactly what the court ruled in this case.
In the very center of the case, the court ruled that the financial burden that could be imposed on a woman was so great as to outweigh the state interest here. We were asking the court to decide whether the right to separate sexual intimacy from forced procreation is a fundamental human right or a right to be enjoyed only by people with internal reproductive systems, because it can't be both, Dan. It can't be a fundamental right entitled to constitutional protection and a limited right limited only to people who have internal biologies.
But you're never going to win the reproductive argument. You're never going to win that. We understand what the Ninth Amendment says. You're never going to ever get to that point. Really, the bottom line is this. There's a child here now. We can have a pre-sex contract before everyone has intercourse and say, hey, why don't you sign my reproductive organs away, and you know what, these are my financial responsibilities, because maybe we wouldn't be, this gentleman would not be in this situation today. Perhaps that's something to think about.
Here's what's so interesting about the Dubé case. Here's what's interesting about the state of Michigan said that after a child is born out of the mother's body, child support laws are enforced gender neutrally. Well, after this child was born, Matt said he wanted the baby put up for adoption. The woman refused. Matt had to pay her child support. Matt asked the state of Michigan to show us one single case, just one example of a woman who wanted to put her baby up for adoption, who was subsequently forced to pay a man child support. The state couldn't or wouldn't or didn't show a single case. You know why? There is no case. There are thousands of men forced to pay child support, not a single woman.
This was, look, legally this was a horrible case, Mel. You guys were forced to pay attorney's fees because it was such a bad case. But as a practical matter,
it was a shameful thing.
As a practical matter,
it was meritless.
The legal case, this is frivolous. But as a practical matter, I think that people, men, should not be forced into situations where they're lied to. Not this case, but still a situation that I've done before. Anyway, Matthew DeBay, Mel Fife, Vikki Ziegler, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.